Alrighty, Doc here from North America. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. It's definitely an interesting Wednesday. Um, what can we say about any of it at this point? I guess the invasion is on at the moment. That's what our White House has been telling us now for I guess a week or so that they were going to invade today. So if anybody has heard anything about the invasion happening in Ukraine, let us know because our news is not telling us anything about an invasion. Just our White House people are telling us that it's happening today sometime. So if anybody sees anything, let us know because to me, I don't think anything's happening. I'm with Janos. They're just pushing oil prices up, and that's the name of the game. It's nothing more than that. I don't think it's that. I don't think it's that complicated. There is no, as I was talking with Janos, he was making it very clear that he's a captain in the army. He's dealt with that territory and knows that community very well, and lives there. And he was saying that basically they've made money instead. That's what it's all about, just pushing the oil prices up. They are not bringing in what they call reservists. It's just the military being moved around like chess pieces on a board, nothing more than that. So let's see. I mean, I don't see it in the currency action. I mean, you can see here the Swiss is kind of quiet. You would think that if they were invading at this moment in time, the way our White House has been claiming they're going to do, there'd be a lot more action, but I don't see anything. Dollar is just a little bit stronger. Nothing major there. You can see it on J4X, same thing. We got a green going on. See the white line is piercing through the dashes now, so it's trying to show a little bit more strength. You see over here, we've been in that weekly buy now for, I guess that has to be moved back right there. So it's 2, 4, this is the 5th week in a weekly buy. It doesn't seem to be letting go on that one either. The pressure seems to be staying there. And let's see, what else can we say? Is that, it's just another day of, kind of crazy political twistedness with a combination of watching the oil markets, go firm or up. I mean, they were at $95 a couple of days ago, or I guess 2 days ago. Now they're at 93 or 92. Where is West Texas? I see it's up at 1 3/4. No, I'm sorry, 1 3/8. So it's trading about $93, 93.5, something like that. Dow was firm yesterday. It's kind of like unchanged or just down a little bit today. So it doesn't look like an invasion is happening, but the White House keeps on saying it's happening. It's going to happen now, this moment, the last 20 minutes, something like that. I don't know. Crazy White House. All right, so you can see there, that's the way the dollar is. It's kind of quiet. And let's take a look at it against the euro. You would assume if there was an invasion going on that this would be getting a little wild also. You see here they're buying euros right there. You see the strength there. And again, we don't really see any real high beta going on. There's no real activity. And you can see here over on the Chicago Quant, same situation. Kind of quiet. You can see it's actually trying to get back into the buy. And I went into the weekly sell last week. There's no real push at the moment. And what else can we say about any of these things? Ooh, let's do this. Let's get the let's check the chat line and see if anybody has stopped in to say hi on a happy Wednesday. Wednesday.
Spectrum present useful tips for your useless dish.
No, nothing there. Okay, so that's quiet too. And nobody asking any particular questions. We've had some good questions of late. We've been looking at the people trying to understand the bond market more, how that works, how the futures work, how does bonds work. It is it is kind of interesting. We had this conversation about the idea of return on investment and return with an R on investment. ROI, and it's something that for decades and centuries people paid attention to. But here in the quantitative easing universe, not too important. It's not exactly part of the verbal. It's not discussed. In the inflation period, that was why TIPS were created. and that's Treasury inflation products. That's what a tip is. And so they would float U.S. government bonds without an interest rate, and it was with a percentage above inflation. So in other words, if inflation 1.5% or 1.25% or 2 percentage points above inflation. This way, if you bought a 2% bond, and inflation like is now at 8% basically, you're losing really 6% overall. That's the way the return on investment was always looked at, forever, centuries, tens of centuries. And now that we're in a quantitative easing era at the moment, since 2008, thank you, Mr. Obama, we don't really see that anymore. They don't really care about return on investment, and there's no discussion about it. And so tips were created back in the 80s to compensate for that. And so most of the bonds being floated are not tips. They are regular bonds, and they're floating them at 1.5% and 2% and 2.5%, not even 2.5%, 2.25 percentage point. So that means that with inflation at 8% and bonds being floated, issued at 2.25% or 2.30, that means that it's basically losing 5.7%, and that's not a good thing. Whereas a tip still makes a little more. They're the bonds you want to buy, and that's probably what a lot of funds are doing. Is they're probably in there gobbling up the tips all the time. I'm not even sure if there's new issuances out there. Maybe once a year they do them. Not like the regular bond market that's constantly floating new bonds every other week, or I guess it's every week, literally. I think they float, something. If it's not the 30-day, it's the 60-day or the 90-day, or the 2-year, the 1 year, 5-year, so forth and so on. They're always issuing these new bonds, but they're not tips. All right, so you can see there, euros just firming and moving in that direction. So we'll take a look now at the British pound, because I believe we're seeing the same thing over on the pound, right there. And you see another green. All of them are doing that green thing. And let's see what they're doing on Chicago. Right there. Just a little green thing again. Oh, no, I didn't mean to move that. So right there, you can see it. Just a little green with a red dot. It says no clarity of direction. Now, this morning it was flirting with the buy number. You can see right there on plot 1, it's minus 0.008 was a few ticks ago. And you can see plot 14 is 12. So there's a little pressure on there. We'll see if they try to lift it. It is an up candle, and we'll see if we get this action here start to move. We're still stuck in that weekly self since I guess it's like right here. So we've went down in here for a day or two, and then right back up again, and tried to go down. And this is where we went into the sell. So it's kind of unchanged, I guess you could say. There's no real, we used to call it conviction. There's no real conviction into the product itself at the moment. All right. From there, let's see. That's the cable. So there we'll drift over to the Turkish Lira and see what's going on over the Turkish Lira. There's a dollar Turkish Lira. You can see that's been marching up. Let's take a look at it on the Chicago. Right there. There you go. Kind of quiet inside its little box. We should fix that box too, like we fixed the other box. There we go. So you see inside that range, we think at best it can get down to here. We don't think it can break out beyond there, and we'll just we watch this thing grow, and grow. We've had it up since basically right here. And once we learned that they're giving free puts out, we were convinced that this thing cannot change any real. It's not going to be very volatile anymore. With free puts, there's no reason for it to be volatile. And that's like a winner chicken dinner, And that's it ran up to 18. Now it's trading at 13.5. And too bad they didn't implement this thing when it was in 6. Let's see. From there, we'll go over to the Euro Turkish Lira. Right there. Same situation. Climbed into a buy yesterday. And it's pushing towards the top end of its little range. The weekly is trying to roll over already. It's in a buy for just 1 week. They're going to have to basically, digest this lower beta, lower volatility, and then when they do, then you're going to see, the weekly be more, I guess you could say, more sanguine, a little more happier, quieter. I mean, the range has been dramatic for a while now. I mean, you had this type of action where, trading all the way up to there from the 12s, the 11s, the 10.5s, and that's the euro, no less. Euro against the Turkish lira. So, I mean, that high of 20.73, I don't see it changing this range here. In fact, let's move that over again. I'll watch and see how it plays with that area, just kind of, and we don't even, we're thinking that if it does anything, it would move down into that area there, but we're starting to wonder if that will be the tough support area. I don't know, I guess at this point it will come down to growth. Maybe some of the fundamentals now that they've stabilized the currency in Turkey, they'll start to look at GDP and inflation and, things, the basics. PPI, CPI, look at all the mechanics. Remember, it is a industrialized nation. One of the, part of the, what was it, the economic EC or something like that. It's one of the 32 countries in the world that are strong industrial nations. So we would expect to see a little bit more statistical strength out of it over time now that they've stabilized their currency over, say, the last 2 months almost. And we'll watch and see how that goes, when it goes to 3 months and 4 months and so forth. It should be, just a very good, positive, stabilizing force altogether. All right, let's jump over to the Canadian. The Canadian has been a little upside down. You can see it right there. Oh, and let's just show you the Euro Turkish Lira too at the same time. Right there. And that's the action we're seeing, that nice solid consolidation there. See, it's turning up. From there we'll go to Canadian. And this truckers thing, this limiting the freedom of speech of people, as the police chief of Ontario resigned. And he doesn't want to try to enforce the rules that Mr. Trudeau has been pushing. So, you can see the slow, steady collapse of I guess you could say, the controllers, like Trudeau and Biden, like that. They're all seem to be running all out of nowhere somewhere along the line of not able to enforce their policies anymore, and no one really cares. As we take a sip of tea. It seems to be the part of the process at this point. And, the Canadian, which kind of firmed up, but, all of them are in these tight ranges. I mean, none of them are really breaking out there. I guess, the wait and wait and wait to see the Fed raise rates. And just as we thought, for the last two times over the last 12 weeks that they're going to raise rates, they have not raised rates. So, there's a lot of confusion there. And I don't think that they, I don't think currency pairs can get moving in any heavy direction until they get a clarification from the Federal Reserve. Are they going to raise rates? Are they not going to raise rates? What is that? What is that whole process about at this point? It does seem a little odd. They just don't seem to be able to put the whole thing together anymore. And I mean, there's constant talk of necessity to raise rates, and they just walk away from it. Now, yesterday and over the weekend, they really made it very clear that they're not sure if they need to raise rates, which is really, astonishing in its own right. And so, they're thinking that they can just stop expanding the portfolio. That's, in other words, they have a couple different techniques of what they've been doing about liquefying the planet since the collapse of the financial system in 2008. And so they think that maybe if they just stop buying everything and just go back to that normal, they don't have to play with the rates. I mean, I guess that's what they suggested, which is kind of astonishing. Again, blows everybody's mind because it doesn't make any sense to the normal, old time investor like ourselves. That it just doesn't make any sense. Let's put it that way. It's not real, but that's what it is. So you can see the Senate blocked Mr. Biden's 5 appointees. We're waiting for Mr. Powell to be sworn in. I'm not even sure they haven't even voted on him yet. And so, we're waiting for the vote on that. And then at the same time, they blocked all 5 of his appointees because, they're really far out there. They're really, socialist, heavily socialists. And we can't afford any more inflation. And, we have a Federal Reserve that's not functioning to stop the inflation at the moment. So you put those two things together and you go, wow, something's wrong here. And that's pretty much what it comes down to. All right, so we see the Canadian, which is like the rest of them, and they have that, trucker situation going on, where there's a major protest across the country with the truckers, and they've got Ontario all clogged up, and the police chief resigned yesterday when, in the afternoon, after the Prime Minister, said, lock them up, take their trucks and lock them up, and he just said, no thanks, don't want to be a part of that. So now from there, because of this type of action, let's take a look at the gold market, see what they're up to right there. And there it is right there. And gold, again, it's trying to break down a little bit. It closed in a sell yesterday. Let's see where it's at. Let me just throw it up there on this. There it is. You see there's gold. It closed in a sell yesterday. No, it didn't close in a sell, but it was down yesterday. That's what it was. It survived the, where's that mouse at? Right there. You can see it survived it. It didn't get into the sell, but it was just on the edge. And today it's trying to get in there again, and you can see the weekly showing the pressure there too at the same time. Let's see. Whereas, we'll go into the metals complex a little later on, but with that pressure on the metal going down, we have to assume that we're going to see a South African rand that's also moving up. So let's take a look at the South African rand. And we're not. We're seeing that on J-Forex. You can see the lines are trying to move up, but we're still got that red hinky thing going on. Let's take a look at it here. Right there. And it's down just a little bit. You can see we've been in a daily sell now for a bunch of days, just like the J4X. And whereas the J4X is still trying to, it's kind of a battle. You got all these red hinkies, and at the same time, the white line is through. In our case, we're below the zero line, so it's still in a sell, where this is the buy. But this is a sell, so it's kind of like you can't get long watching the J4X because all these red hinkies. So this is like, stand it aside, let's wait. And then as we see the gold market itself trying to move down, but not too far, but still in a daily buy, we're really trapped in that situation now. And we'll see, how that plays out over the next, I guess, if there was an invasion going on that the White House claims is happening, it hasn't started, they say, but it's happening. It's going to happen. It's there. It's going to happen today. And, if the invasion happens, I guess then you'll see the metals market take off again. And we'll see dollar probably go up, I imagine. We'll see euro go down. I myself don't think there's any invasion at all. I'm there with Giannis, the head of the technical analysis, or the analysis of Dukascopy. I'm convinced that this is all just to pump oil up, nothing more than that. Mr. Putin is pretty good at that stuff. He understands the economics much better than our president. All right, from there, let's jump over to the ruble. You would think the ruble would be going through the roof right now, just running way up because of the invasion, but we don't see that either. This is pushing down and it's trying to get into a sell. So in other words, money is going into the ruble, not away from the ruble. So there's a real confusion we have here. We have leadership in our country telling us that there's an invasion happening today, and at the same time, everything else is telling us that it's not. Especially when we don't hear the bombs and bullets going off. So it's a real confusion at this point. All right, from there, we jump over to the yen. There's the yen. I just want to see what the ruble looks like on J4X real quick, right there. Yeah, see, it's heading down too, and this is in the sell. This is telling us that things are not too wild and woolly. In other words, they're not invading anything. There's a problem with they've caught Mrs. Clinton and a few people doing some really illegal stuff, treasonous stuff. So maybe that's why they're making all this noise. That could be the whole thing. That could literally be the whole thing. But that's for another day. Let's go to the yen on our work. There it is. We have the yen up. Okay, so you see the yen is trying to lift again. You can see it's trying to climb through the weekly already. You have to just 1 week in a sell. Right, where are you? Right there. There you are. See, same thing going there. It's white lines piercing through. Second day of a green, and doing the same things that we're seeing right here, and the weekly. Seeing all that strength try to lurch in to the upside here, and we're at 5-year highs basically. So the big question is, does it top out here, or does it go back down, or does it go sideways? And does the yen have any bite to it? At this point in time, we don't see anything too clear. We think, we've said this many a time, we're really convinced that to a great extent these channels that all the pairs trades are in is pretty much going to stay that way, and there's only just a mild adjustment for inflation. Yeah, I'm seeing a headline right now. It says Canadian truckers protest stoking political division. At the same time, we're seeing the 10-year yielding 2.3% here in the States. So they're basically pushing bonds on the downside. Let's take a look at bonds real quick. There's the 30-year right there. See, it's up a little bit, nothing major. See that pressure's on the downside the last couple of days, and we've been in a weekly sell since in here. This week we went into the weekly sell. We put it at the end of the week to confirm it. I guess it has to be moved over one like that. And so, I guess the pressure is on the interest rates, and everybody's waiting for the Fed to do something, and waiting for the invasion to begin. And there's all kinds of, and I mean, just too many cross currents of adventurism going on. Raise rates, invasion. What else is there? Oh, the vote for Powell. They haven't voted on Powell yet. They blocked the 5 candidates that Mr. Biden has nominated. I mean, it's just going in all kinds of wild directions here. If you couldn't basically invent this stuff. It's so odd. It just doesn't make normal sense. But that's what we're watching. All right. From there, we'll go over to the Mexican peso. See how one of the currencies on North America besides Canada is doing. Where's it at? Right there. Okay, and then there. And right there. There's Mexican peso. You see the pressure. And you see here it's just barely plus. Plot 1 is 0.01. So just barely plus. Let's take a look at it over on J4X. You can see the same situation with the red. That pressure's on, just like it is here. And we've been seeing this pressure up in here for a while now. And at the same time, it's in the sell. And our daily is been in a sell with it. And the weekly is trying to roll over at the same time. You know, that could be, again, you know, like the way the Turkish Lira is, where it's catching up with the volatility. Basically, our math is, you know, readjusting for all the volatility that we saw in the Turkish Lira. We may be seeing the same exact thing in the Mexican peso, where that big volatility from the conference of Canada, United States, and Mexico, with the two presidents and the prime minister, you know, it took it out of its range. Now it's resetting itself back into that range. And in the same token, that's what we're seeing with the Turkish Lira. You know, after many years of incredible volatility off and on, you know, in and out, now we're seeing a very docile, very calm Turkish Lira, and we really think that's even cutting edge at this point. You know, we're seeing, you know, some of the concepts that the Turkish government has, you know, set up to be very positive for investors in the future in Turkey. We see that as a positive, not a negative. All right. So that does it with our currencies, unless someone wants to see anything. Oh, there's one other currency I want to take a quick look at, and it's this one. I put a piece of gum in my mouth if you hear noise. No, not that. The GBP JPY. Right there. You can see that breaking down, but today it's lifting back up. We're in the sell from there, and no, this is not. Oh, what is this? Is this intraday? That's an intraday. Let's go to the daily. Right there. Right there. There's the daily. You can see they're flirting with the buy today. And you see the weeklies, which went into a weekly sell there, which we should put that line in, is basically backing out of it again and trying to get back into the buy. I guess we'll have to see, you know, a combination. We got a lot of odd news. It's always on the edge of coming into the marketplace. And, you know, between invasion in the next hour or an hour ago or 2 hours from now or whatever, to the Federal Reserve and the 5 different positions being blocked by the Senate. And now, at the same time, we're looking at the, you know, the interest rate problem. We're not seeing any clarity on the interest rates. You know, over the weekend, as I said a little while ago, they're not sure if they really want to raise rates. Huh. You couldn't make this stuff up. All right. Now let's march over to the metals complex again. And let's see. Let's take a look at silver. See what silver is doing. It's around here somewhere. There it is. You see silver went into the sell yesterday and is a little bit firmer today, but still underneath. And the weekly is trying to go into the sell again, right there. So we're not really seeing a lot of positive action out of the metals complex here. We're seeing a lot of pressure on it. And then let's take a look at copper. We'll find it. There it is. Copper. There's copper. It's trying to lift up. That's that classic inflation thing that we talk about. It seems like the bonds are a little bit firmer today. With the bonds a little bit firmer, what are we seeing? A little bit more firmness in the copper. It's really, it seems like it's the inflation beacon. You know, it's like the light that's flashing. And until we get all these answers resolved, you know, I mean, we know who the president has nominated. We kind of assume that the votes are there for him. And, you know, so he's going to get in, I guess. You know, I mean, I think it only takes 51 votes to get him appointed. We'll see. I don't think it takes like a super, you know, a normal majority of 61 votes. But end result is that we'll sit and watch and see how they play this out. And that's an important factor because it is, you know, it is a confusion. We are in a situation where inflation keeps on growing. Interest rates don't go up. Bank of England is raising rates twice now in the same time period. And so we're really scratching our heads. All right, from there, we're going to take a quick look at platinum. Find the mouse. There it is. There's a platinum. Daily sell for a second day, but it's firmer also, or at least unchanged. And you can see the weekly is still holding on since the 950-ish area. You know, we've gotten to 1050. It's gone up basically about $100 inside that weekly buy, but we're not seeing much more than that. All right, let's take a look at the energies. There's crude oil. This is the front month. You see it's at 93 and change, and the high is 2 days ago at 95.82. So it's about $2.50 off the all-time high. I guess it's like a 2-year high or 3-year high, something like that. Maybe a 3 or 4-year high. Remember, Mr. Trump. Let's take a look at it. See if we can see it on Forex. Right there. Let's go back to a monthly. Right there. When's the last time we were up in this area? Let's make it the whole picture. Last time we were up this high was back in 2014. Right there, May of 14. We haven't been up that high since Trump got things going down. Right here, you know, it took out these lows after a little oscillation and all, but the end result is that see, the election's 216, so right there at 17 was right there. They lifted up a little bit and then slammed, and down it went even lower to where it went below zero for a little while. And you can see now that since Mr. Trump is gone, you can see the product has been climbing now. I guess let's see, he's been gone since here. So product is having its issues. Stretch that out like that. Little weakness here. We're a little red there, but here you can see lots of green. So I imagine this will start to turn right there. And I guess as long as we see, what is that? I guess as long as we see green and a weekly buy, I'd imagine it's going to find a way to stay firm. I don't think it's going to find a way to go down. I mean, it'll go down a little bit here and there. Profit taking, you got to take profits. Mr. Putin's got to, his country's got to take a little profits here and there. But I'm sure they're not pushing out too much. Remember, they're selling. They are now our second highest provider of oil here in the States. That's really weird. We were exporting oil, and before Mr. Biden, we were exporting oil, and oil prices were down at the historic lows. And now we are importing from Russia, and Saudi Arabia. They're our two largest providers, and we're number 3, I think it is. So we're at a minus, whereas before we were exporting, not importing. Very strange. All right, from there we go over to natural gas. Let's see what natural gas. Oh, let's see. Yeah, we got it there. So let's put natural gas up on J4X. Where is it at? Right. There's cotton. There's gas. And it's jumped back up to the 4.5 area because of the cold temperatures. The planet is cooling, and we keep on seeing those numbers go down, but they keep on talking about global warming, but we don't see it. We're at 100-year lows in temperature. We've been in a weekly buy since this low over here. So what they did is they took it up and brought it back down to that area over in here, and now we're climbing back up again. You would have thought that with that invasion stuff, you would think this thing's taking off, but I'm not sure. Now, let's take a look at let's take a look at European natural gas. I mean, we were down. We almost touched we were in the 3s for a couple of days, no more than a week ago. We got down as low as was that 392 there, and in that day was 387, $3.87. Whereas in Europe, we're seeing natural gas. This is what natural gas is doing in Europe. There's the British grid. There it is right there. And it's trading. Oh, see, that's been coming down nice, you know. I thought it's supposed to go up if they're going to have an invasion. I'm confused on that. 24 now. We've seen it as high as 28 a couple days ago. Almost 30, actually, up to here. Where's that? Right there. Oh. I got the right mouse? Yeah. There it is. Got up to almost 30. And now we're down to $24 a unit. Whereas in the States, we're trading at $4.50 a unit. So that's at 8 times, 7 times. 7 times 4 is 28. 6 times, it's 24. So the ratio is dropping. So we're down to 6 times. We were as high as 10 or 11 at one point. Developing story. Biden warns Putin push for peaceful resolution. What? President Biden warns Putin. Ah, I see. Push for peaceful resolution. Okay. So I guess no invasion yet. But the White House is saying that there is an invasion happening today. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. All right. From there, let's see. That was nat gas. And you can see that's pretty cool. It is coming down. And you can see that's like, what is that, like 4-month lows? November lows, right? So November and December, January, now middle of February, like 3.5 months of lows, which is really good. You know, it cuts down the prices and expenses and the inflation in Europe itself. All right, from there, let's see, what do we have from there? All right, so that's the energies. Oh, let's see what North Sea oil is doing too. Where's Brent? Right there it is, right there, Brent. Brent's doing the same thing, kind of backing off. You know, coming off of, I think the highs were in the 97 area. We're at the 94.5 area. So same thing as the States, a couple dollars off its, you know, like 5-year highs or 6-year highs, that type of thing. Ooh, Tay. From there, we looked at the metals, we've looked at the energies. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick peek and see what the stock market's doing today compared to yesterday. So let's go to there. Take a look at, there is the Nasdaq 100, which is flirting with the daily buy with no problem whatsoever, but the weekly is still having its issues. And on the super, you know, the 3.5, you can see the 3s are underneath the 0 line, and the 5 is just starting to lift through it, through the 0 line. Just a plus 30, basically, nothing big. whereas the 3 and the 5 are flirting between 118 and 200 and change down, 236 down to be exact for the green line. That's kind of interesting. Now let's take a look at it on a short-term basis. Let's see, where is that at? Let's see. Let's open that up like so. Right there, there we are. Now there's the Nasdaq 100 right here. You can see the pressure is on it since here. This is a 2 Tesla, I think it's a 2.23 Tesla. That's what this is. And so it went into the cell here. Where's the dots on this one? Let's go find the dots. Why are they? Okay. Move that down so we can figure out what's going on there. So that would be that. That's an okay, and that is like that. That's okay. Now, where do they park them? Why can't we find them? Let's see, format. Scaling. Screen. Okay, there we are. Right there again, screen. Okay, there we go. Let's set that. Let's save that. All right, now you can see here it's, it's been in the red since, like, I guess it was there. That's not a minus. That's where the sell came in right there. So it came into the sell right there, went down. It's only down 34 points. It's nothing major. And then now they've been flirting with the buy. You can see a couple of these buys, but unfortunately this is minus still. So it's not putting it into the buy yet. We're getting a volatility signal here. And we'll see if that tries to turn back up. I mean, that was a good buy there. That was a good sell there. That was a great sell right. Is it 4 of them? 1, 2, 3, 4. That was a great sell right there. 1, 2, 3, yeah, 4. That was a good sell there. And then it didn't get into a buy, it just missed it. And stayed in the sell for another little slide. And then it went into the buy right there. Right there, it went into a buy and failed. Went right back into the sell right there again, and bang, it fell down again. So whatever you lost there, you gained there. And then it was all more winner chicken dinners like there, and there, and there, and there, there, and there. Lots of winners. All right, so you can see it's only down 32 points. And stock, you know that this is the Nasdaq 100. Let's show you what that is over on Dukascopy. That's right there. They call it the Tech 100. Right there. You can see the green on a daily basis right there, lifting up just like we're getting a daily basis right there. Same situation, trying to lift up, even with it down a little bit. We're getting that buying power coming in. Now let's take a look at the S&P 500, which is right there doing basically the same thing. Both are in weekly sells though, so they're both pressing down. Neither of them are trying to lift into the weekly whatsoever at the moment. Matter of fact, the green line is still minus below, as we said, at 232, minus 232. The white is at 116 and change. And so, there's the pressure is on the longer trend, week to week. It says the pressure is really down. Same thing with the S&P 500. And put that up over there. There's the S&P 500. Same situation, trying to get into its daily buy right there. You see the little green on the J4X right there. That same identical pressures we're seeing over here. Now let's take a look at that product on an intraday basis. Right there, and this is a 3 Tesla. Widen that out. And you see the same thing, nice buy there. A fair sell that basically, 3 bars and went right back back into the buy. Another win. And you can see here, sell there, and it was a nice win again. And you see right here, pushes it into the buy, and then right back into the sell again. Money is made, and now we're in that little buy, and it's kind of, you know, climbed a little bit, but pretty much it's kind of quiet. I think we have, what do we have out today? Retail sales, maybe? I think we have retail sales coming out in the next 15 minutes. Let's just take a look and see. Okay, Robin, if you're listening, I just saw the email. Okay. All right, now let's get rid of that. There we go. Let's go over to the economic calendar and see if we can see what's going on with that. There it is there. The Dukascopy economic calendar, and I think they're, let's see, today. There's today. Retail sales, that's what it is. Another, what is it, time-wise? 13 minutes. So retail sales is coming out. And that'll be important. That shows growth. A lot of these things don't last long, but you know, and you can see it even says it high. You know, impact. Whoa, high impact. Whoa. End result is yes, we've got retail sales coming out in about 12.5 minutes. So markets are going to be kind of sloppy and sideways at this point, going in no direction. All right, now let's take a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Right there. Same situation. It's trying to lift, but look at that. It's minus at the moment, minus 4.67. So it was trying this morning, and it seems to be backing off. Let's see how much it is up or we know it's down, obviously, but we'll see how much it is down. Let's see where we go, like right there, and we go right there. There we go. You can see it's down 63 points. Nothing major. Can't get into the buy here. It's, you know, it's too many. It's a red and green telling us volatility. Again, it's trying to tell us something's going on, and now it's trying to get into the buy. Okay, so if it's got 59 more contracts to trade, and if this is like a 1 Tesla, and so we'll see if they close it. There's 51 contracts to trade, 48 contracts, 46. See it over there, right there. 45 contracts. We're, you know, cycling down to 0, and then that'll close the bar, and we'll see if that pushes it into a buy, and see if we get some buying, or they just roll over again. What do we have? We have 11 minutes. So I have my doubts even paying attention to something that has news coming out on it. You can see there are 26 contracts. Let's see how this closes. It's minus 64. It was minus 63. It's not really doing anything particular. And there's 21 contracts, 20 contracts, very quiet. No one wants to participate with news coming out. 18, 16, just watching it slowly grind down. There's 10 contracts. And they're back. Okay, so it's in a buy now. Let's see if it takes off. Went into the buy at 847, 34,847, and we are trading now at, you know, minus 56, and it's all it's done is going up 2 ticks from it, 3 ticks. So just bouncing around, a little pressure on the upside, nothing major. That's where it went into the buy at 47, went to 52, went 5 ticks from that buy signal. You see here, it is trying to get through there also at the same time. That was a plus, and that's a plus. So it is trying to lift. It is truly trying to lift up. We'll see. All right, that pretty much there's one other stock indice I'd like to take a look at, and that is it's like the smallest of the stock indices. It's called the Russell 2000. Let's take a look and see what the Russell 2000 is doing. Not there. Where's it go? Right there. And there is the Russell 2000. You can see it's flirting up, but it's not getting into a buy, and it's been in a weekly sell for a while now, since all-time, I guess it's all-time highs. From this stuff in here, it went into an all-time high at 24. I think it was like 24,000. I think that was the all-time high. Let's just move over a little bit more, something like that. That was the all-time high, I believe, back in November, and then now it's just played itself. It's dropped 500 points. So that's like at 24,000 I'm sorry, 2,400 to 1,900 is 500 points, and we're looking at a 25% drop in this product. This is like the smallest of the small stocks. This is kind of replaced the Nasdaq 100 or Tech 100 as a speculative index. Now the Tech 100 on Dukascopy, and we call it the Nasdaq 100 here. It's actually, the official name is the Nasdaq Tech 100. That's what it's called, but we just call it the NQs. And on the stock side, the ETF, it's the QQQ. And so that used to be all the little speculative companies. And now they've really blossomed. I mean, you're looking at Apple Computer, Amazon, Google, Facebook or Meta, whatever they want to call it, Tesla, Cisco Systems, Intel, Microsoft, all make up that index, of 100 stocks like that. There's some biotechs in there, like Amgen and so forth. Just the cutting edge. Novartis in there. I mean, it's all the cutting edge companies. So now the Russell 2000 has kind of taken that position of the speculative stocks. The only worth like $500 million market cap, all the way up to something like $2.5 billion or $5 billion. I think that's what it is. And if you get beyond that, then you kind of get moved out of the index. So I think they might have a Russell 1000 at that point or something like that. And so you can see here the speculative stocks are pretty much flirting with the lows of about 20-some-odd%. And so it pretty much concludes the indices. Now let's quickly jump back here. That buy put us all the way up to 58. So it went into the buy at 47, and it traded as high as 58, 11 points. And that pressure is on the product at the moment. And where are we time-wise? We still have 6 minutes before the news. And let's see what the other stock indices are doing. Like there is the 3 Tesla right there. It went into the buy at 4,455.75, and is traded as high as 4,045 or 456, I guess 56 from 55. Is that right? 58. It's going to 58. So it's going up 3 points, which is it's only a 4,000 index, so it's a pretty good move too, just like the Dow Jones Industrial Average. And then the NQs, they're still stuck in the, you got red and green, and now we're finally getting a green. So they're kind of stuck, trying to get going here. All right. Let's see, what other news do we see out there? I guess that's about it when it comes to the action. We can take a quick look at the bond market again. I think we have once, but let's take a look at that again just to see how they're treating them. We saw bonds earlier acting pretty firm. So right there, right attached. There is the 10-year. You see here the 10-year is still in a sell out of all this since up in here. So for a couple of weeks now it's in a sell. Let's move this up like that, like that. What is that? Let's remove that. How do we get rid of that? Was that gas 3, right? I see there's 2 gas 3, so something like that. And so there's the weekly. So it's been in the sell from there. It's fallen down. Now this is the 10-year. It's yielding 2.3. And then this one is the 30-year right there. Let me see if we can spot where the 30-year is trading at the moment. You can see that's been in a sell for 3 days. And it's been in a weekly sell since up in here, the 156 area. And now it's trading in the 150 area. So as the price drops down, the interest rate rises. Don't see a quote yet. I'm looking for a quote. Last I saw was 2. Oh, here we go. Here comes a quote now. So the 10 years trading at 2.03, and the 30 years trading at 224. So just kind of moseying along, not really pushing too hard one way or the other. It's all pretty much docile at this point. All right, I guess we're at the end of the road here. There hasn't been no questions today. So we can stick around a little bit longer if anybody wants us to stick around longer to look at the action. But overall, Bitcoin is down a little bit. And that is a surprise in some ways. We keep on expecting to see Bitcoin become more of a independent from the stock indices and so forth, and have its own nature with the interest rates at the same time. We expect to see it become just a flight to safety place, but we're not really seeing that. I mean, this thing's gone down into the mid-30s, and now it's back, or yeah, I guess mid-30s, and now we've run as much as up to like 46 or 47, and now we're back down to 44. I guess the Dow is still doing pretty well. Let's take a look at that real quick again. Right there. So the 58 is still holding up. Alrighty. This is Doc from North America. We will catch you all tomorrow on Thursday. So happy trails to you until we meet again, which will be tomorrow. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. All right, traders, catch you tomorrow. And news is coming out in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So be very careful. Try not to get trapped in any handcuffed position.